All right, guys, we're trying something new. I've obviously heard your feedback on the watching the Star Citizens live. I need to eat food and stuff, so I'm going to try something new here. I think I should be able to pause the live Twitch streams now. This is the Star Citizen Live with Sean Tracy. We think they'll probably talk about character creator, social tools, things like that. But yeah. Outside of that, I think they're already talking.
Oh, you probably
about
never
5
heard of
seconds
these guys.
left.
They're like super indie.
So,
They got a new
Here we go.
They got a new album.
like
right
she's
now.
14, so you can imagine how that goes. And I'm like, you don't know anything.
I know, they got-
You know, but yeah, there was a new
me
music
know about
video. Actually, it's
volume.
super cool. They did cells and everything. Like they did cell animation, 2D animation. Looks awesome. Super cool.
They're on
Great
Saturday Night
song.
Live this weekend with Ryan Gosling.
You're kidding?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They are.
Well, maybe that's why it's all in the media. So of course now she sees it and she's like, you probably don't know about these guys, but.
Have you actually heard the new album at all?
I've only heard this song. Only saw this
So they
one.
went through and they got all of the outtakes from like every person that ever like subbed in, like clips from Dennis Hopper, all the things that they left on the table.
Yeah.
So
And
the goal
basically
here is
resurrected
to
them all to a new song. So it's like the whole album is kind of a tribute
Do a
to
1
a
hour episode,
forgotten
but
and
30
lost
minutes of
history that never
information.
was.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Of their lost history.
Like
Yeah, I
always.
did tell her. I'm like, yeah, I wonder they should collab with Blur maybe. And she's like, who's Blur? I'm like, see, you don't know.
Also, I know Jared loves Sean, so.
It is cool, which means she's on the right path somehow. Some algorithm took her to the right place, you know.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen Live Tech Talk with Sean Tracy. I'm your host, Sean Tracy, and
Are you?
no.
And I'm your guest, Jared Huckabee.
If you've never seen Sean, if you've never seen Sean Tracy before, just you wait. The first thing was a fake mess up, and then I immediately followed that by a real mess up because I'm a professional. I'll tell you, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I got a new implant up here. It's kind of vibrating when I talk, and it's being really weird to me.
Okay.
Like I
Vibrating.
have an implanted tooth, and it's vibrating when I
What
talk right now.
did you
They
get
did not put it in
implanted
right.
that vibrates?
A new tooth.
I understand, but what's it made of?
No, I don't think it's secured. I don't think it's secured
I'm just
properly.
teasing
I
you,
think-
like you're
I think
going bionic.
Sibboleth. Sibboleth. There was
Yeah,
I did
that
a show
sounds
like a
like
couple weeks
UK
ago. I was completely
dentists,
missing a tooth.
I guess,
I
right?
just completely missing a tooth, and the whole thing. I was like, I kept my mouth like this.
We all saw
I
it,
don't-
Jared,
I don't know
but we
if
just
anybody
didn't want to
knows.
say anything because it's rude.
My old man had the same thing. He had an old fake tooth on it. And anyways, he would
Yeah, mine doesn't come out. Mine's in there. It's just not in there super secure.
that's good.
It's vibrating. That's going to be weird. It's going to be a focus for the entire show.
Holy shit, guys.
So, I'm your host, Jared Huckabee.
So, this show is called Tech Talk with Sean Tracy. Now, Sean Tracy is the Senior Director of Tools, and what is your title? Is changed?
Actually, it's changed. Yeah,
All
it's
right,
changed.
who
'cause they
cares?
keep running out of words.
Tonight,
for
apparently,
You
4.7
have
build
one of those
with
titles that doesn't come into
crafting
executive because
and inventory in it.
I'm not in. I do not want to be in that C-suite.
That's better.
I'm quite happy where I am. Just below it and helping out with the developers because I like working with dev. I like keeping my hands on stuff. So it's managing director of technical operations, which is a big long title that just brings together tools, technology, animation technology.
So just under
character
Benoit.
technology.
Evo PTU, Evo PTU.
Yeah, and all that.
Chat's like, so the D suite.
Yes, the D suite.
Dev Suite.
Welcome to the D suite.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, definitely not an executive. A lot of people think that I've been, but I'm not. Like that's.
I
I'm
promise
a
nobody's
developer
ever
like
thought you were
everybody else.
executive.
But I do have a lot of reports at this point. Yes,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
the
reports.
tech pillar is a rather large pillar.
It's gigantic, actually. And right now, our core technology group (CTG) is split in two, with two of us at the top. So Benoit's over top of all, and
Okay.
then Marco and I split the two departments, so it doesn't end up being 200 onto one manager or whatever.
NTC Transport says, Sean Tracy in the C-suite. Sweet, no, not in the C-suite.
No, not yet. I mean, someday, right? Maybe Chris goes and Rich and I can take over, but we're not there yet.
I wouldn't.
We should probably finish some games first.
Other people, maybe, not
Maybe.
you.
No.
Certainly
Probably
not
just be
me.
here forever. Yeah.
Certainly.
I'm quite happy. Super happy.
So,
Imagine, Jared.
While Sean works in the tech content tree, the scope of his work is not nearly as broad as Ben was. So one of the things that continuously challenges this show in our effort to improve as we go along is properly conveying and identifying the topics that are appropriate for our guest for the show.
Okay.
So we thought we'd do a little thing. Look at that. That's
I'm in the
going
way
to
of
pop
it.
up from time to time. Today's topics are questions and situations and improvements and whatnot related to the engine, which is
editor,
Star Engine,
tools,
the
animation,
editor, which is the thing
tech.
with the interface for the engine where everybody makes their stuff, all the various tools that allow all of our stuff to connect, whether you're using Blender or 3D Max or whatever. Big focus on animation and character tech. And then, of course, just a little bit of VR.
Yep, and it's just because I'm helping. It's just because I'm helping. I can't take anything away from
Engine might be
Sylvan's
Planet
work that's
Tech.
going on with VR, which is fantastic and it's great stuff.
But mostly this is kind of
by
sleeper
no
for me,
means
I
am I
think.
doing nearly the hands-on work that he's doing, and I'm just involved a little bit.
Gotcha. So we're going to start with we're going to start into the questions as we usually do.
Yeah,
we
maybe
put a thread up on
Genesis stuff?
Spectrum. We went through and pulled the questions that were actually related to the topics. Let's just be real plain and up front. The overwhelming majority of the questions were not on the topics or for this person, but people like to try. So we're going to get into the questions that were appropriate. And the first question we have was about the character customizer expansion. This was actually about 8 different questions that we've all sort of combined into one here. Will we be able to edit body type, height, weight,
We've
scars,
talked about this so many
cybernetics,
times.
image-based face creation, FOIP scan import? Talk to us about the future of the character customizer.
All right, so it's a great question, and all of the topics that they brought up there have been brought up by Chris. So the short answer is when? Wow. There's a lot of pieces to that. So one of the things that is coming sooner than it is later is scars, and we
Star Citizen. When? Wow. That's basically
call
what
it,
it is.
It's the feature and the technology of it is blood, sweat, and tears is what we call it, right? So it's so the characters can bleed, so they can sweat, so that they can cry. And what that does bring you is some decal support for the characters, and that's what's actually really critical to have scars and things like that. That starts getting into, so the tech enables this, but that starts getting into design discussions like, okay, when does a scar get made? Right? Does a scar last forever? How long does it last? How does Death of a Space
Can we have design discussions about things that actually matter?
Man work into scars, blood, sweat, tears, these kind of things? So I think there's a lot of great conversations to come for that, but it will be completely enabled. So we're going to be able to put a character in, just put the scar on them, looks great. But as far as that being a dynamic thing that happens when a player is playing, again, we've got to have design discussions to see exactly how that would work out, but the tech would absolutely allow it. So that's just on scars. The body question is a bit of a bigger question, and it's already been a mandate that Chris has put forward that he wants to be able to have custom bodies. Now, I'm not going to talk about the height adjustment because the height adjustment is a different problem than is the, I call it thin fat variations. So thin fat variations have been around for ages and ages and ages. And the old way of doing it is you literally have a thin one, you have a fat one, and you kind of blend in between all of them, right? As you guys know, we have a really, really sophisticated system in DNA within the face. What I'd like to develop and what we are beginning to develop now is DNA for the body. So DNA for the body would give us basically all the same abilities that we have within the face, giving a massive amount of ranges of body types that you could blend in between, depending on different controllers or whatever you'd want to do. So that's where Chris wants to take this. Now, there's so many challenges, guys, because it's not just about doing the body. Like, I think a lot of people think about the customization, they see a guy standing there in an outfit, and they're like, cool, that should just work. I agree, but that amalgamation of a character is like 12 assets, all independent, right? If I would to restart this game again, I would make every body the exact same topology, every shirt on top of it, the exact same topology, so that we could do those blending kind of things. But that's why we've got to utilize something like DNA and a Raptiformer on top of it to be able to do that. But so you guys are aware, when we mark up a hair or we mark sunglasses, toques, or anything around the face, it takes some time. It's a lot like skinning. We have to mark up the vertices to say how much or how little do you move, how do you move, whether it's elastic, whether it's a rigid. It takes some time. We would have to do that then with every single body asset. And just to give you some idea, we are nearing 1,200 body type assets within the PU. It might even be higher. That's the last I checked. 1,200 assets.
How?
So we're talking a lot of stuff.
That's crazy.
Over many, many years. And they're all in different states of, where's the mesh, LODs, face orders. It's tricky.
Of LODs and
so
stuff.
the things that go on the face to make DNA work, we know the vert order of every single one of those
he's
faces,
counting
and we
the
know
head.
the vert order of the attachment, so we can move
Got it.
But if we have all these assets on top of a body, we don't know that. So basically, we have to make a Protoss body, like we have the Protoss head, which is the mass average. Then we have to mark up every single asset that would go on top of it to move appropriately within all those ranges. So it's just a lot of work. So I think the first step, but it's a question I think a little bit later.
I mean, obviously it's post-launch.
First step is going to be something like Starware, right? And then we need to be able to look at the body adjustment. It's a question a little bit later on as well. The other place that we are able to use this is on new types of bodies. And what do I mean by new type of body? Well, I mean things like a quasi-grazer. I mean bodies like a worm. I mean bodies that don't have many attachments yet. We can start doing some stuff with those. So having, we like to call them DNA creatures.
Oh, the dog.
Makes a lot of sense. But there's a ton of challenges. Ivo Herzeg has taken a huge look at it on our animation programming tech. Yeah, he's an awesome guy.
I haven't talked to Evo in forever.
Well, I talked to him yesterday. Well, there was a bug in his code, I thought. And he proved to me the whole time it was not a bug in his code. It was somebody else's that sits near him, so that was funny. But yeah, he's already looked into this, and we've started sort of the investigations into it. So
yeah, like a saddle on
that's
the grazer.
body, and I realize this is a very long-winded answer, but that's a lot of questions in one. So we've gone over scars, we've gone over bodies. What was the other? Oh,
Cybernetics.
scanning. Oh, cybernetics. Cybernetics much easier. We actually have characters that use cybernetics already. There's something at Battaglia within the PU, and there may or may not be some within Squadron as well that we've used that. So to do it on a character is pretty straightforward for us. It actually relies on the underpinnings of Starware to work really well. Because Starware will be able to adapt to different arms, different lengths of there's a whole bunch of stuff that will come with those attachments. So I think that's shortly to come. There's no tech stopping us now from the cybernetics of it. But the question then begets, can you
How much do we sell them for?
take it off? What happens to FPS gameplay when you take your right arm off?
Yeah.
Right? There's some questions to be answered within.
It could be just cosmetic, but that would not be a very Star Citizen approach.
Yeah, but how ridiculous would characters
That's a new sound. It could be cosmetic, but that's not a very Star Citizen approach. When your entire game is only cosmetic, Jared. Your entire game is just cosmetic.
look running around the okay, yes, you can put a gun in your left hand, but right now all of our animations all very much expect that you're holding that weapon like this, so they're just running around like that. Like, come on. That's not really going to work out. Could we do it with NPCs? 100%, right? No problem. And I think you'll see a lot of that in the coming year for NPCs actually using that kind of stuff, because it's there, and we do a lot of it. So that is cybernetics.
Image-based face creation.
Yeah, I mean, I love this conversation because, as you know, anybody that's followed the project for a long
Image-based face creation always comes out looking scuffed.
time has known that I'm really into the weirdy tech, like the FOIP tech, or trying to scan things. As they might be aware, I did all the scanning systems for Squadron 42 for all our head DNA. So this is near and dear to my heart because, of course, when we go sit down on a scanner, as you have, right, and we spent a good time, we got you to shave, which was.
I shave semi-regularly.
Yeah.
It just usually comes back by the time
we got
the
you
show
to shave, and scanned you up, and now we have a glory. Oh, I need to tell the community about this picture we have. You know, the dental dam. So, so we have a great image community, and maybe if you, I don't know, you're gonna have to make a Spectrum thread and really, really request this one. It is of Jared's teeth in a dental dam. He looks beautiful. I think it's great. I love the fact that we now have 8 directors who were very specifically selected. I have this as ammo in case, you know.
Yeah, you don't just have. You're making this sound like it's some weird thing that I did for you. You have the entire
for everybody.
You have the entire development leadership.
So when we scan ahead, we need to scan the teeth because we do give you the actual teeth of the character. Because if you put somebody, this is gonna sound weird. If you put somebody else's teeth in somebody else's mouth, it doesn't look right.
We do give you the actual teeth of the character.
Yes, we do.
That's pretty cool,
absolutely.
actually.
They can check in DNA.
I never knew that.
Cool.
That's a cool thing.
So we have Jared with his poor dental dam in there, you know.
Back when I still had the natural tooth and it hadn't been replaced yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you just did that.
This just happened.
Yeah, that was just a few months ago. So that's all fine and dandy, but we can't have people do that at home. Not the dental dam. You can do that for your own fun if you want, but in terms of scanning, nobody would want to do that. So there are ways to get the image projected out onto a character, but people have tried.
Just so it's clear, this is exactly what SCL is. Jared talking to a developer. What the developer does is the focus of the show. Very rarely do we get an SCL where it's like dialed in video game. This is what you're going to be doing talk. So if you're not interested in the guy, Sean Tracy, as much, and you're specifically interested in some sort of tech that he's talking about, you'll hear a little bit of that. If what was put on the screen is nothing of interest to you, just leave because it's just not going to be for you.
This before in games, and I reference a very specific project, NBA 2K15.
Yep.
Go ahead and Google it now. NBA 2K15
epic
facial
memes.
Scan or face scan or NBA
Epic
2K
memes from that game.
15 face, and you'll see the results, and they're very unfortunate.
Yeah, they're horrible.
So if you're gonna do it, it needs to work super freaking well, because again, you're gonna contort your own players' faces, and that is not something that people, as funny as it's not
amazing.
something you want running around in the verse. So the only time we would do it is if we could guarantee those results. Now, DNA kind of takes us that direction. So what I think is much more interesting is taking a FOIP capture or a webcam capture or even just an image capture and driving DNA as close to that position as possible.
Right.
And then bringing in whatever texture makes sense for that. Like you get the closest you can. So it's not a true scan. It's more of a DNA approximation of you rather than a full scan. I personally think that's probably a safer way to go. And I really hope you guys have Googled 2K.
Oh yeah, no, they are the search analytics for 2K15
look at the Star Citizen characters.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Remember
I
Voidy
actually used that
vids?
feature in
His
WWE 2K20.
Did it work good?
Yeah, I got it. Well, I was able to cover like the bottom half with a beard and stuff like that, but for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't mess up too bad?
No, you could tell it was sort of me.
Oh, that's good.
More
hey, cool. I honestly, I thought they gave up.
no.
I thought they just bailed on it.
no.
They did for a couple of years, though. I know that.
Yeah, I know.
So maybe again, whether resolutions are higher. But anyways, I think that's a very reasonable
Woody's just working, taking
way
care
that
of his
we could
family.
do this. Is it going to work?
Guys, Star Citizen is not the best living in the world, right? You got a family, you got kids. You got to work. So he's doing. He moved to the UK, I think, and he's doing some other stuff. He's doing good. He's chilling. He'll be back one of these days. Don't worry. Just
I don't know.
just wait for him. He'll be back.
I hope to get there.
Yeah, I think the faceware thing is probably the FOIP thing is probably the right thing because you can get all the points in the structure from that, and then alter the structure, and then just find the texture, and you get people half the way to.
Yeah, and I think we've got enough textures, especially now that we've done the new scan set and we've got like 60 or 70 of the new materials and all that in, plus the skin tinting.
Anyone ask about Theaters of War? We should.
Skin tone pretty close. And there's a whole bunch of algorithms you can do to do that. So, I think it's worth an effort for sure. But I can't guarantee it. Because, again, I work a lot on the technology that enables the developers. That should be my title, I'm your developer's favorite developer. That really would be the title, developer's favorite developer. So I make the tools for these guys.
He keeps trying to make this happen. He asked me to make it his intro at the beginning of the show, and I'm just like...
I love it. I think Chaperone's super cool too, but she was the one that really properly coined it, I think.
Chaperone is super cool. I got 2 different skins on Fortnite.
Oh, right, from Fortnite. Yeah.
And there go any cool points I might have had.
Yeah.
Fortnite's fun.
Oh, because you play Fortnite. I play Fortnite sometimes too, with the kids.
I like to shoot kids in faces sometimes. Just like 11:30 at night before I go to bed. It's just like I'm just gonna just murk some.
Yep.
Yeah.
Best when you can say it's over your bedtime, but honestly, they tend to smack talk me better than I smack talk them.
Oh, my mouse keeps moving.
Let's
Hold on,
stick
I'll
with
keep it off screen.
character tech animation stuff for a bit. Let's flash. Hey, look, we got our topics there. Nice. Let's talk some male-female model parity, if you will. Why are the male and female player models so different in terms of bugs and feature support?
Yes. So we just talked a little bit. I mentioned it. The player heights. So height adoption. The reason we have different heights between male and female is we have different rigs. We have identical human rigs, but they are different heights and they've got different controllers, different offsets, all these different things. So that means that their assets actually get skinned independently. We also have different geometry in some cases. Like we take parity pretty seriously. Like we've made sure that when an armor goes out, it's got both versions. And we don't go over the top with the female version's massively different than the male version. It's darn close. I hope that most of the time you can still tell that there is a difference, but there is, and it gets skinned separately. So it's dealt with as a separate asset. And commonly what happens is that somebody just messes up one of them. Or they're in a rush, or we're trying to get a whole boatload of assets done at one time, and either the male one gets missed and the
I feel like the female one gets missed all the time, though, and the male one, I don't recall it happening.
female one goes in, or the female one gets missed and the male one goes in. So it happens, but we are really trying to keep parity in place as much as possible. So the reason those break down is just because they're 2 separate assets, completely different. In terms of design and the data on the design side, they're identical. So we have one, it's called a record, a data record. We have one record, and then depending on what skeleton that record goes onto, it will go down a different path of geometry in that record. So for example, we just set a tag, it says female, and we have other tags like hanging. If it's on a hanger, it looks like the hanging version. If it's in a locker, it looks like the locker version. So it goes through this little tree of sub-geometries, we call them. So yeah, that's why it happens. But we do take it pretty seriously. So most of the time that something like that comes up, we absolutely try to do it. Another big reason is some legacy assets, for sure, that just weren't created for a female in the first place before we actually started taking this seriously. Because if people remember, we didn't always have a female player.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dude, it was...
the team has been pretty good about this.
Wild.
When it gets pointed out and brought up to, obviously there's a lot of, you mentioned how many assets there are in the game to track. Every single time one has come across...
People were begging for a female character when we didn't have any functionality for like the character at all. And it was like, guys, can they just focus on like making the game? I understand like you want to go with like your character, right? You want to be able to create your character and stuff like that. But you would never hear me complaining if the character was female only. You would only hear me complaining about the game being shit, right? So it was like one of those things where it was like, I would much rather them focus on the game than focus on like I want to put myself in the Star Citizen world until there is a world that's worth playing in.
My path, I've been able to message like Armando and been like, dude, this shirt's been on the male model, only worked on the male model for the last like 6 years. Can you help me out here? And it's not a high priority thing, but it's still it doesn't make it any less important. He's always been really good. Shout out to Armando and everybody everybody on the tech on the tech art team. They always find a place to squeeze it in between tasks.
Yes.
And whenever they can.
Yeah.
You can't make the priority call above almost anything else. But there's always going to be those downtime moments 100%. Between tasks and whatever. Whenever they can, they always squeeze it in.
Yeah. And I get, not to use the dirty word, but tech debt. Right, that is what it is. That's exactly it. That's unfortunately what you're seeing there is a bit of
and
debt
that's what Star Citizen is.
Yeah, decisions are
Tech
priorities.
Yep. Steambag, first time chatter in the Twitch chat, says, so glad these guys have a stages set with all the cool toys to show us instead of a fully functioning game. Hi Steambag, I don't make the game. I'm here. It doesn't slow down any aspect of game development. And for most of this cool stuff, this is my childhood lunchbox. This is the lunchbox I had when I was like 6. Actually, technically I was 4.
Yo, this guy gets one guide more than me.
Primary school. There's no rust inside it. I've really taken care of it. Oh my! Somebody play with it. My thermos is upside down.
Your house key's still in there,
Yeah. But this stuff, to me, it doesn't slow down the game at all. It just helps communicate and helps educate. Helps let people know what's going on. So, you wouldn't want me in code. Although, I did have I was the first person to add multiplayer to the Hangar module.
Oh, really?
Way back when, yeah. I got into a hyperfocus for like 4 days straight where I only slept like 8 hours. And I took the CryEngine SDK, I took the Hangar module at the time, like the first one, and I took a less than legal copy of Crysis 2. And I basically just was comparing everything like this, and I basically managed to put multiplayer back into the Hangar module because it's just...
So you're why our Crysis bonuses were really small.
Yeah, and I packed it all up and I sent it to a guy in Australia, and we actually were able to log into each other's Hangar, and we had the first FPS match we did at race. There's videos on YouTube and everything, but that's what I used to do before I worked.
No, that's awesome.
It's not coding though, it's just raw
data management.
I want to understand how this works kind of thing.
That's cool.
But again, that doesn't fix a game really. It just causes trouble. Tools. How many tools would you say you've made, and how they accelerated development?
Well, honestly, if you count how many tools I've made, it's not nearly as many as how many CTG has made, right? And we're easily hundreds and hundreds of different tools, scripts, because it's like, what's a tool, right? Is it an executable? Is it a Python script? Is it a Python script within Maya? Is it a Mel script in Maya? Is it Mac script? We've got so many. TechArt has a whole bunch. We've got CTG tools. We've got engineering tools. We've got designer tools. We've got production tools. We've got, I've got my...
Do they have gameplay tools? Economy tools?
Frame.io to Jira tool recently. So there's honestly probably upwards of 1,000.
They don't have those yet.
But it's all going to, depending on what the function of that given tool is, because what it's designed to be, a tool here is to force multiply somebody, doing something, whatever that may be. And a lot of times...
The average player cares about none of this. We already know that going in. So if you are that dense that you are going to complain about this in every single episode that they do this in, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. The Ham Jam, thank you. I will give you a proper alert when need be. Because like my camera's all in the wrong place. But yeah. You can't. They don't ever talk about important stuff. And after 10 years, 12 years of this with Jared, like, we can't, you're never going to win. You're never going to win. You're never going to get what you want. It's never going to happen. It just won't.
It's to speed things up. That is probably how I spend most of my day, is trying to figure out how much faster a person can go if I made a process easier for them, if I put something in front of them that made a lot of sense. So A lot. And we've got entire teams dedicated to even different areas of the tools. Like,
I mean, Jared gets butthurt and doubles down and he gets one guide and all that stuff like I'm getting right now, right? It's pointless. It makes no sense to have these discussions. He loves to have this back and forth with the community, but it's always calling out somebody that he doesn't like and not calling out somebody that he does, or calling out a good question and all that stuff. It's a lot of wasting time. If that's what you're talking about, yes. But if you're talking about the general show and like none of this matters, none of it's mattered
just
ever.
alone on the editor, right? We've got a team for the editor. It's not a gigantic team, but it's a very, very busy one that is maintaining, again, there's thousands of tools just in the editor. Maintaining the Python implementation in the editor, maintaining all the plugins within the editor, whether that's a character tool, whether that's a mannequin tool, whether that's the universe outliner, whether that's level design tools. So there's a whole bunch that happens there. So that's
your
one
proper
team.
alert.
Then we've got another team that works on kind of global tools. I call it,
Thank you.
You know, it's CTG Tools UK. They work on tools like, yeah, I know, right? It's like super uninventive. The cheekier names get confusing, though. That's the only problem, right? So they work on kind of the global tools for all the developers. So this is anything outside the editor they tend to work on. So a good example is copy build. When I got to this company, there was literally no way to download a build to your computer. You had to open up our Perforce, and I'm not sure everybody knows Perforce, but it's our source controlled repository management, and you would sync everything, like everything. And you would launch it.
It's all old stuff.
Crazy. So they then got a build system. Great. Okay, so now the thing runs through a build and it makes a little package, an artifact. And the best thing they had was just copy paste from network onto a local drive. Okay, so we have evolved, obviously, to you know, honestly, just as good as any other company that's out there in terms of our back-end build infrastructure and our distribution, which is what CopyBuild does. So CopyBuild does the patching, does all this kind of work. So basically, everybody runs CopyBuild that is going to be working on the game. Almost everybody, anyways, runs CopyBuild as our build distribution. So they work on that. They also work on a very, very big tool called DataForge. And a lot of people will come on here and talk about DataCore or DataForge records or entity records or whatever. That is the tool that manages those.
I remember them talking about that years ago.
It's huge. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of data, and there's a lot of interfacing in that data that people do. So, you know, I'm just rattling off a whole bunch of them, but that is what those guys work on, which is generally overall. Then we have
Anything good? We're, what, 42 minutes in? And I would say the only thing that we got was when players said, can we get custom bodies like fat, skinny, tall, short, scars, blood? The answer was yes, but when there's no response. Like, he even laughed. That was the closest thing that we could pull out.
You know, a newer team,
of
a little
anything
bit newer,
of value.
right? Montreal Tools. And Montreal Tools works on Starchitect, first of all. That's been discussed quite a bit, I think, especially with the new planets on the way. And that's going to be the way to propagate the locations out in a less manual way than we've been doing it, because it's the only way that we're going to be able to scale. But that is when things are going to ramp up like crazy location-wise. That's going to get a lot faster.
Even beyond what they have. I mean, we just delivered 2 star systems in the same calendar year. This is going to take us to the next level.
Exactly, and it's all part of Genesis, which is great. So they're working on that. They also work on some density profilers within the engine. We're also working on a system called...
I think CIG has gotten so corporate that they have like talking points. Like sometimes it feels like I'm watching like political news, because like they have their talking points they always go to. Like when they want to say we did something good, it's like, yeah, it's like it's part of a script.
Tiny Machine, which is a smart asset system. I don't want to get too into details on it, but smart assets are cool. It's basically as you move something around the environment, it actually has contextual awareness of where it's doing, what it's doing. Just a super simple example is if I put a ladder up to a wall, it'll adjust to that wall depending on what that height is.
Not a teleprompter, but yeah.
That way, level designers, it's not like, oh, I need the 10-meter ladder, I need the 15-meter ladder, I need the 6. They just put a ladder there and it's tall enough and it works, right? Like that's kind of the idea with Tiny Machine, but it'll go much, much broader than that. So I think that'll append to StarCartect, but that's all kind of within its own wheelhouse. And then even beyond that, we have like online tools.
It's like Blizzard, where every developer uses the same phrase to explain something. No. The developer doesn't, but Jared always repeats it with that. Like, it always comes with like best year ever, 30K gone, bugs are down, metric numbers are up, all the like, look guys, we're good, but they don't realize is the game that we're playing is not good. Like Jared did mention this, to be fair, that they're like, we know the game's not good and we need to be better, but it's always like it's almost like somebody tells them like, we need to put the messaging out that things are great. And it's like, they're not. So stop doing that. You need to put the messaging out that like, we're getting better and we want to do even better. And I think you'll go a lot further with that.
The team, the OST and the live tools team, which works on a tool in our backend called Bootstrapper, which is basically the way that we run our environment without having to send it up to AWS. So you can kind of run the environment locally now. It's getting harder and harder to do that because our universe is bigger and bigger. So trying to run those servers on just a local PC can take a lot of memory.
They think people fall for corporate talk.
And you're running Max,
they do.
Maya, Editor,
they do.
the client, and Bootstrap.
They do it because it works.
Get a little heavy, but there's all sorts of things going on with that. So there's a bunch of different tool teams that are helping the developers make this game happen, basically. So yeah.
When you put those the self-adjusting ladder and stuff in, will they still yeet people out of their ship and across the galaxy?
I hope not. But you know what that comes down to, and it is a thing that this fixes, is that comes down to different implementations. So like, okay, somebody made a ladder entity at some point 6 years ago. Now somebody made one 3 years ago. Now somebody made one 2 years ago. And this one uses this one uses this one does. It unifies everything. So it just makes all of them are easy to play. So you just use this one. It's the only implementation that'll happen. And that way, when you fix stuff, it fixes it on everything and not just on, couple place ones.
Jared is a 7-Up guy. Ew, Sprite for the win. Jared is a what they put in the fridge at work guy.
Right.
That's what I am.
I would say, since I'm living in the U.S. and I come out here very often, that the 7-Up Zero here, amazing.
Yeah.
In the U.S., absolute
Trash.
crap.
Absolute trash.
Absolute crap. I don't know why. And
I
if
wonder
that gets
what
me in
the
trouble,
difference is.
I hope not. Not like I'm getting sponsorship from them. But I will say that Sprite Zero on the other side is amazing.
Zero is so
Over
good,
here is
chat.
total crap. So
Yeah.
what the heck?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Because they have to use different sweeteners and stuff. The UK is pretty gung-ho on,
It's such
on,
a weird
on, their,
experience.
on their zero sugar stuff. Like you find
guys,
way
we're talking
more
about
zero
zero
sugar
sugar.
options here in the UK than you can anywhere else because they decided to tax the hell out of sugar a while
I had that Dr. Pepper I said I didn't want on camera. But the Dr. Pepper Zero here is awesome.
good.
It has that caramel. Yeah, sorry.
I like the one with cherry.
Way
Dr.
off
Pepper Zero
topic.
in the U.S. is good too.
I'm way off topic.
right.
Anyways, yeah. So that's a lot of tools. A lot of tools get made,
Yep.
and again, a tool is just as much a process as it is a tool. Sometimes the best tools are just
I wish we would talk like where StarCartect is.
And
Like you mentioned it. Talk more about it. Go deeper into that. Where is it? How's it going? How's that going to affect our
Cherry.
player?
bottom third, baby.
Cherry Pepsi Max is probably the single best.
Oh, yeah? I haven't tried
probably
it
the
here.
single
Like
best
here?
sugar. Yeah, the
Okay, I
Cherry Pepsi Max here in the UK at least.
I gotta try.
Probably one of the best. Probably the.
Let's be fair to CIG here. I think Mad Jazz Cab says something that is worth mentioning at least. Doing this kind of shit in big projects is ultra hard. In corpo type companies, you're usually told to fuck off if you even mention tech debt or code quality. Yes. So when people go, cry, oh, you're not being open and stuff like that, and Jared says we're the most open, that is where like he is absolutely telling the truth and all that stuff. They just choose to tell their own truth a lot, and it's it tends to be their truth from inside, and what like we're all just numbers. But then they, it's all about the community, They talk about us as numbers all the time, but then they get on stage and talk about how important we are. And that's because they want the numbers to go up, So that's the stuff that I'm talking about more, less about this kind of
That's
conversation.
the most elite of the zero sugar things. Plus, it's got caffeine still. All right, so we talked a little bit about Star Girth. What are we calling the thing where you adjust the?
Tiny machine.
No, the one where you adjust your torso.
Oh, it just body DNA.
I'm just trolling you.
Ozempic.
Let's talk. That's the other way. That's the other way. Let's talk about Starware. Had quite a few questions about Starware. We've name dropped it a few
Did
times,
we
but
really
not,
have a
not
lot
really
of
an
questions
update.
about
We've been talking
Starware?
about this for
Sure.
a while now.
Other than
what
when?
can you tell us about where it's at?
Yeah, we have a super rigid schedule now. And actually, I got involved just a couple weeks ago just to check in on it because, I'll be super open about what happened. We made all the content. Tech Art kind of did everything, but was lacking a bit of engineering support and a bit of design support to finish it off. Now, that's all been addressed. There's a strike team all back together. They've got a really, really good schedule. It's not long. I'm not going to say exactly when, as that'll be a roadmap or a rich thing
in the month
to
report.
talk about. He knows when it is, but it's within the year to get that out to the players.
Okay.
And a
First
big
bit of
part
real
of it
news.
getting prioritized was the community asking for it. So got to thank the community for that. That was great.
Can you fucking people ask for the game? Can you people ask for the economy? Can you people ask for good insurance or a lack of it and something that makes sense? You are the worst at times. You are the worst at times. When I hear that, it makes me want to cry.
They got this invisible undersuit by accident, is what happened. And this invisible undersuit kind of gave them some of what Starware is meant to do. And people loved it. And of course they loved it. I was seeing jackets on armors on t-shirts and awesome, cool, super cool. But I see people saying, "Oh, just give us back the undersuit." We don't want to. We don't want to half-ass the feature, right? Let's not just half-ass it. Let's get the full Starware out there to you guys. So designs
Meanwhile,
come in.
most of the game is
Engineering
half-assed at the
support's already
moment.
in, so they're already working together. A small change happened once we got the designers involved. It was just splitting up. It was literally some really simple stuff, like splitting up the cuffs of the gloves, because the undersuit is one suit, and we want to chop it into gloves now. So there's a couple pieces of it that required a little more content work, but it was only a month or two of content work, so we're not talking the end of the world. Again, I'm not giving a month or two estimate on when it's coming out. That it could come out before the end of the year, but the team's all back together, and we've got the right amount of support that needed to happen.
Thank you, Simple.
I mean, you could have just left the invisible undersuit in until you were ready.
Yeah.
Why do you hate fun?
Well,
why do you hate fun, Sean?
Well, I hate fun because it would give a false representation of what you could do. And if something that they could do with the invisible undersuit as a bug doesn't work in Starware, they're going to then want that back, right, within Starware.
The whole game is a false representation.
Or whatever that may be, and that might be a design-breaking thing. So I don't want to give false representation, I guess, towards it. But so it's clear. I think we've talked about it.
Ask the marketing team about false
Armando had gone over it a little bit. So it does really go quite a long way in the customization of the thing. Yeah. And one other quick little mention about it that's going to be really nice is for players as well as for developers, is once we get those assets all separated in the Starware fashion, and a lot of this has to do with that data forge record alignment and structure. Once we get all that, we can mark up those assets or set information on those assets so that our procedural systems can start using it properly. So,
what does that mean?
Example, if I know a T-shirt is green and it's cold, if I know a T-shirt makes sense in a warm environment, I know sunglasses make sense in a warm environment, I know shorts make sense in a warm environment. If I'm spawning NPCs procedurally, they should probably have T-shirts or shorts or sunglasses or whatever. Or if it's sunny out, then I can just do something.
Yeah, right.
It's these kind of pieces of markup that'll get really interesting.
Every NPC is a manual loadout.
Kind of. It's a set of
A set of manual legend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
it's not truly.
It's like we could have an NPC that has 10 different outfit, 10 different. They're called loadout bundles.
Right.
It has 10 different outfits within the loadout bundles, and they will all kind of work together. But yeah, somebody's got to make those, which is crazy. Like we don't have to do that.
So it sounds like the answer is you're just a jerk.
I think I hit that.
Leafy Dan says, Jared, wipe the lenses of your glasses, please.
They are so dirty. They're worse than mine.
Mom?
They were so
Mom's got
bad
a
I
new,
noticed it even,
new
and I
username.
never clean my glasses.
No, I got my hoodie. Creature Tech. How is Creature Tech coming along? New beasts this year?
So I don't know about creatures this year necessarily, because right now I'm like from the CTG side, I work for both projects, so sometimes I don't even know which one is for what. So I don't know of new creatures for SC this year. There's just always a creature on the way in some somewhere within the pipeline.
There's
had been a
definitely
lot
creatures.
of the Yolandi had been the different
Yormandi.
Yorlandi. What am I saying?
Yorlandi is who we met at the. Never mind.
So there's always some creature in the group. So creature tech wise, I mean we're in this state where we are where it just works like a character.
Because there's always a
they're very
creature.
similar. But as I mentioned before, we're looking into all the scale.
Is this kind of implying that like there's lots of creatures in Squadron 42 and we never really expected creatures to be in Squadron 42, but they added them to Squadron 42 because Chris wanted them in Squadron 42, and Squadron 42 might be out by right now if they didn't want creatures in Squadron 42? It wouldn't be out, but you know what? We could just play along.
Skeletons as well as creature DNA so that we can give some massive amounts of variation to these guys, because it's one thing to pre-can a couple assets and to spawn them like randomly or so, but it's a way different thing to have the range of like a DNA system or something like that. Even material systems need to be able to scale in the same kind of way. So that's where we're going.
In the Squadron
that's
trailer?
where we're heading. Is definitely that route. Now we're also going to be adding a bunch more boids, like a bunch more of the more simplistic creature. Not a full, necessarily AI,
Fish.
but a critter that moves around that you can shoot and pick up, whatever. Yeah, so that's kind of the state of creature. Okay.
And I want to tack on to that answer. When Sean says he doesn't know, he's not being coy like, oh, I don't know if we're going to make it. He's saying he doesn't know.
Yeah.
He's not part of the scheduled content. Doesn't make the content plan for the year. He just works on the tech behind when other people determine it's ready, and all the other aspects beyond his stuff, it makes it ready. That's when it goes in. And you often, come around going, "Oh, I didn't realize that went out."
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, happens a bunch.
Yeah, so he's not making a statement of cautious reservation. He's being quite literal. He doesn't know.
Well, I know because no, yeah, exactly.
Destructible foliage, vegetation.
Oh.
Can we chop down trees or run over vegetation like in the original CryEngine?
So no, you can't right now. Obviously, because people have probably driven their cars into the trees and stuff like that. Small ones, I think we just disappear sometimes, but most of them you just run into. So the original Crisis, so it's clear, was super ahead of its time. It used a cutter object. It was really cool, and anybody that does 3D modeling will understand a Boolean subtraction. And Boolean subtraction is a technique. You put one mesh kind of over top of another mesh, and you subtract the first mesh from the operand, from the next mesh, right? And it creates a hole. And what's cool when you do that, you can project the UVs and get the material from the cutter object anyways. We don't do that anymore at all. That whole system is long gone. What we do have is in Maelstrom, which is not quite rolled out, I think, to the persistent universe, but is very in use for Squadron 42.
Oh, big info there, I
2D,
guess.
Procedural fracturable planes that come out of Maelstrom. We've got fracturable 3D meshes that can come out. Without the Boolean subtraction, you don't need to do that. It's much less heavy in the end. But Maelstrom will be the system we likely rely on for all of that. Maelstrom is a heavily engineered system for all kinds of different.
Of for all of that, implying that cutting trees is a thing they want to do. They've told us that they don't want to do this like 10 times already.
And I'm sure the community's heard a bunch about it. Physics talks about it and works on it all the time.
Or is he talking,
and Chris is...
Or is he talking about just like general destruction, talking about what Maelstrom is? I'm assuming he's talking about general destruction. You want to do it? I want to see it too. Oh my God. Imagine wood being a part, like a certain alien wood being part of a craft. Oh my God, it would be amazing. Like wood being a harvestable would make me so happy. But they have mentioned it being like kind of not in the cards before, but okay, maybe it is in the cards.
Particularly involved and interested in Maelstrom. If you know, if you say the word nearby, he will give you the feature list and the documentation and everything that goes. For example, I'm working on another area of Maelstrom right now for a given character for armor destructibility in some sense. Now, this isn't a big feature that I'm about to roll out. There's a very specific character that has to have some armor break off. That's all.
That's Squadron 42. Damn, I think he said more than anybody has ever said ever.
So we need to make that work, and we didn't have characters working with Maelstrom, so that's something that's starting to happen. So no,
yeah, it might be a mech. Because didn't they mention last month's monthly report like a mechanized AI like NPC? Holy, we might be getting like a boss, like NPC boss.
Expect that we will be able to break trees. I expect that the level of immersion we've always wanted out of this game will let us do that. But how that works with the planets and Maelstrom, I cannot say. That's going to be physics and planet tech, and they're going to have it out.
No, I recall reading
you said Maelstrom enough times, I half expect Chris Roberts to just burst through here like the Kool-Aid man.
People say it weird. Maelstrom. Isn't that Maelstrom?
Maelstrom.
So not Maelstrom.
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 I mean you're Canadian.
Yeah, I guess. Don't talk about Matuke. Talking about Matuke.
Blue Minx.
Hey, Buddy Hoser.
Blue Minx says, then why does he even work at this company if he doesn't know? Maybe Jared should pick a random in streets to explain things.
Oh my
That's
God,
not his
this
job,
guy.
Blue Minx.
To know the roadmap of Star Citizen?
He's got so many other things that are actually his job. He focuses on the stuff that he actually like matters and is important and necessary for him. You know, I could say, why don't you should know better. You've been in these chats long enough, man. You've been here in these chats, watching these shows long enough that you know. I'm gonna suspect that that's a troll question, and you get to be timed out. Look, I just timed you out. You're timed out.
Is that kick
as a troll?
He's
Yeah.
banned in this channel too. Not for anything like that though.
He knows better, and they showed me how the buttons work. So
censorship.
What about VR physical interaction? Is full physics-based VR interaction, grabbing, lifting, throwing objects, NPCs, part of the long-term vision?
I would say it's part of the long-term vision, but how we get there is a whole conversation happening right now. As the community is aware, VR is super new. Super new for us. It's just gone out in 4.5. Sylvan's done a phenomenal job on his own to get that working. OpenXR, awesome, right? But no controller support, right? And it's like the first thing you want to do because already it's incredible when you go into it. It's I'll just talk about sitting in a cockpit is cool enough, right? You're sitting in the cockpit and
I just don't understand how VR is going to work when CR wants everything to be one-to-one animations and look so smooth and perfect all the time, and I need to cater everything to. It's going to be like arms stretching and going all over the place, and it's going to look so fucking stupid. I don't care if it looks stupid, but they seem to care. And I don't know, like if they don't care about that anymore because they prefer that immersion, which is very a Chris Roberts thing, maybe they just go with it. You know?
Your mouse and keyboard like this.
It was really fun to play.
But you see the character inside the cockpit is holding the joystick, holding the throttle, and you lean and stuff with the VR, and it sees you moving, and your character's moving inside and all of a sudden you're moving the mouse and departing the keyboard, and it doesn't feel right. You want to have controllers, or you want to have your own actual joysticks or whatnot. But the immersion it gives you, and the things you notice that you don't notice
if you guys
when you're
haven't
just
tried
playing on a screen versus you noticing it in VR, it begs the need to grab it, to interact with it, to see hands, to move it around. Now, technology-wise, I mean, it's not an impossibly hard problem, and it's kind of solved in some cases, in some games. There's a great VR game. It's not that obscure. I mean, a lot of people know it that are into VR. Boneworks. Boneworks has completely done this. Now, their characters can look crazy weird sometimes, especially in multiplayer, like when you are doing these kind of things. So a lot of these things, just like FOIP, it'll come down to our,
I have not tried more VR, but I do want to try Half-Life Alyx at some point. Maybe this Boneworks game, since it's cool. They're saying
not capacity, but our tolerance for wackiness, right? Because again, as soon as you're driving the hands, because you could absolutely do this now. You could drive the wrists of the joint, anyways, that you would need to of the given hands, and you could drive them around. Think of what that would look like right now. Right? A guy's running through the first, like he could look like Superman. So there's a lot of stuff to solve, right? To make this so that it makes sense. Because we are totally unified in first person and third person. Right? It's all the same thing. So we can't just show you one thing in first person, like your hand tracking and it works and it looks amazing. It's kind of how Half-Life Alyx works, which is an incredible VR experience. Like that is a bar to achieve just by itself. People will see you in third person doing these kind of things. So yeah, that's going to be a tricky thing. So it is something that we want Sylvan to be involved with. We want to start talking to design about, try to work out how this is going to work, because it's also not just about supporting one set of controllers. It's about supporting all the sets of controllers that are going to do it. So we've already had a tricky enough time supporting the gamepad, let alone, these extraneous devices.
Yeah. Like my real question here is, could Sean Tracy be making tools and support that gets us to the features of 1.0 instead of talking about stuff like this? Or did they just decide that this is now a feature in 1.0, which it feels like they did, but I mean, I think it had to be honest. Now that I remember, it was a fucking stretch goal. It was a stretch goal. So they don't really have a choice. They kind of have to make it, don't they? People paid for it.
That are on top of it. So I think the interaction, it's impossible to say no, because you want it so bad when you are doing VR.
It's one of those things where, and I promise everybody, there will be a time where we'll have Sylvan in this chair and we'll do a whole thing about VR. We're gonna let it continue to mature a little bit more and know a little bit more about where we're going before we subject him to such things. But if you've spent any serious amount of time with Chris Roberts, you said our tolerance for silliness and whatnot. It's never going to be just okay. It's never going to be, oh, that's all, that's enough. That's enough, and we can just sit there.
100%.
We're going to push. It
has to be perfect.
We're going to push, and we're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep pushing. Occasionally, chat. There'll always be somebody in chat talking about how are they still figuring this thing out in the year of our Lord 2026 and whatnot. And that's because this project doesn't end. If we all have our way, we are making this game and continuing this game well beyond 1.0, well beyond 2.0, 3.0, just going on. It's like any other MMO. WoW's still going 20.
Yes, but WoW released, brother. Like, that's the thing that we're trying to get at here, is we need you to get to a releasable product, and then you can do the stupid shit. Like, that's kind of what we're trying to say here, is why are you still figuring out shit that you need to get out to release? Why are you still having those discussions? They should have been decided, this is 1.0, let's work towards it. That was what you communicated to us in 2023 and 2024. It really felt to me between those 2 years, with Squadron 42 becoming feature complete, that, all right, now we're going to focus on Star Citizen. The next bit of communication is, guys, this is what 1.0 is, and you're going to watch watch us work towards it. We're even going to put a roadmap up that shows you the features that are in 1.0. But now you keep adding to it. Now you keep changing it. Now you keep changing your mind, which is a very Chris Roberts thing, unfortunately, for all of us. But you then make a comment like this, and you wonder why I am the way I am. Like, these are the times where this is what makes me the way I am. Because how can you say that shit with a fucking straight face after all these years? Everybody knows that once you release an MMO, then you release more parts of that MMO later. But you actually released it. It actually got released and people are playing it and their progress fucking matters. When is that going to be a thing? Like, yeah, again, EVE Online has been going for 23 years, but it started 23 years ago. Nothing I did 12 years ago matters. Nothing I do today matters. I have some fun here and there. I absolutely do. And I've had tons of fun with Hathor, which you're fucking up in space with the new version of it. Rockbreaker. But like, ugh. That's where those frustrations come from. I can't say it anymore. I can't make it any more clear. We all know that development will continue after release. We're not that fucking stupid. They certainly think
some odd years later. It's like this, that's our aspiration. So when we talk about these things, it's not about, the end goal is not 1.0 and you stop. And that's why sometimes the tense that we speak in can seem like it's out. We're already looking and planning and, the thing that comes next, the thing that comes next, the thing that comes next, and the thing that comes next. So yeah, at this point, it would be foolish to say no. It would never get to a point where you can grab things and interact with things.
Yeah.
My dream is a nice little, little tracker that I just want to be able to throw the bird without needing it.
That would be cool, but it's not in the cards right now. We're focused on 1.0 right now. Hello? Is that crazy?
Anything, and I can just throw the bird and whatnot. I'm not a...
But think about it. We have diegetic screens. We have diegetic UI. We have the cockpit. So, of course we need to do it at some point. But when, who, what? We don't have a VR team, right?
Yeah.
The timing and details I just can't give. But to your point, which is so good, that we have to look that far ahead because we have to make decisions now that we don't regret later.
That's true. Because they've done this their entire career where they made decisions back then that they're regretting now. That is absolutely true.
It's happened a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Where we go, no. 1.0 is just going to be this. So we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. It's going to be great. And then that changes. And we're like, shit, now I'm wrong. I say it this way internally sometimes to people. You will eventually be made to be wrong, right? At some point. Just try to project yourself as far as you can so you're not.
Who's he blaming him? It's probably Chris.
Did I just reveal something that was like some...
No, nothing. No. Nothing that's nothing that's been a secret on this show. It's just the number of times over the years. You've been here 14, 13?
13.
Yeah, 13.
Well,
I've been here,
just under.
I've been here 11, going on 12 at this point. It's the number of times we've hit something because of a bad decision that was made 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And it was made back then with the best of intentions. Absolutely. It was made back then with all of the knowledge and experience and foresight that we could have had back then. 100%. And then you just go, oh, well.
I really hope they do that with item insurance.
We could either accept that.
What just happened?
YouTube or TikTok.
I'm never doing this, guys. I'm never doing this again. Oh, I'm so upset. You cannot pause if they raid. Oh, man,
all
I'm upset.
Of the knowledge and experience and foresight that we could have had back then. 100%. And then you just...
But I am able to go right back to the
Just
VOD,
go.
so not so bad.
Well,
But go check out
we
Spooner.
can
He's a
either
cool guy.
accept that, or we can rework the inventory for the third time or the fourth time. And we don't accept it.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's where we end up.
If we can make something better, we're going to make something better.
Sure, and we're not going to sell it short. That's what Chris says. I'm with him. I get it. I get it. Does it suck to eat that sometimes? Yeah, it does. But in the end, it.
How many people saw an image of the inventory before you made it and told you it was fucking bad? And are doing the same thing now.
It does work out, and you got to trust that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
We haven't had many animation questions. Let's find an animation question.
Sure.
Can you add random blinking, eyebrow movement, body shifts when FOIP isn't active?
Yes, totally. We have a facial idle.
Yeah, they do.
We have a facial idle animation, but I agree.
I guess when FOIP is on, it's not ever idle.
As animated as it should be. I think it's a little
Thank
too
you, Mealy.
idle. Not meaning like it needs to talk and do all the, but yeah, blinks, a little bit of saccades. A lot of times you do those separately, like you almost just put them in as procedural. So like you got eye saccades going on, you got blinks going on. I think that makes a lot of sense, and actually
Like
it's
whatever
something
you
for
want.
facial animation. But so
Just
it's
be here.
clear. I know facial animation is spending the lion's share of their time right now wrapping up Squadron. So pretty sure we can get something out of them. I'll mention it to Steve. I'm sure he'll have a look at some point. What also happens though, unfortunately, is that sometimes that facial scope of the mannequin animation breaks in certain contexts. So you might be, I don't know, it might break after wearing
I
this
think FOIP
helmet
is so
and changing
sensitive.
this armor and doing this thing, and something breaks that context, and now their face is just dead the whole time. So, you know, if they're seeing that, that's a problem. There should be an idle all the time, and on everybody else. And if they're not seeing it, that's a culling problem, which is something else. But so yeah, we absolutely can add that.
You mentioned the blood, sweat, and tears thing earlier. Yeah. I remember we did that Star Engine trailer. No, trailer. It's 25-minute single
The
shot.
fly-through. I don't know what that
one
was.
25-minute uninterrupted your tour of everything Star Engine. And of all the tremendous features, of all the various aspects, the last thing that we end on is a guy crying.
Oh, I know. I hated that. I hated that. I thought it was such a, yeah.
It was one of those things.
I didn't like that.
It's one of those things where you're so close to it when you're making it. Like there were so many hours. There were so many. We're so close to it that it never like. It wasn't until I'm in the audience. You know, run the show backstage. I'm like, okay, there's 25 minutes where
That
nothing.
video
And
was insane.
Was he crying? He wasn't crying. He was bleeding.
It was bleeding. It was bleeding. It was the nosebleed.
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't crying. It was bleeding.
It was the nosebleed. I'm like, okay, I have
then
a
they
break from
changed it
calling
for
the
some
show,
reason.
so I take up and I go up and I want to watch this with the people and whatever. And it wasn't until it was live, and I've seen this thing 100 times.
Yeah, bro.
And the last thing is the nosebleed, and I'm like. So the question, I'm sorry, I'm way off.
Is there a question on that? Because we're just shitting on ourselves.
Yeah. This question is basically, are things like that just for the NPCs, or is that intended to come to players?
No, it's intended for players, absolutely. It's and the work on it is way more gory than I would have expected. It was actually so
Really?
uncomfortable. Story time. We were doing a little bit of work on that system before. I had shown what a face looks like. Okay, so I made a little video with Dexter music, and I had a knife in the game, and I sliced the face, and it was I thought it was super funny. Right, I thought it was great.
It was funny. Somebody did
Forrest
this
thought it
clearly.
was funny too. You know, he was like, check mark. But for some, it was gory, right? So in the end, I had to blur out a couple of the screenshots. And I know, like, it sounds stupid because it's like, oh, it's a video game, but it looked so freaking real that it was kind of weird. Like it was around his eye and stuff. It was all very gory. So there's some questions there, right? Of how far that goes or how far that needs to go. But we're going to have all those abilities. And right now it's a big deal for.
Can we get a spokesperson for the game that cares to show the game to the community? Jared is really out there lately. No, they Jared is the way that they show the game because he shows the game in the way they want to show the game. Chris is very particular about the way they showcase the current state of Star Citizen. Incredibly strict about it, I think. And understandably so at times. I think that's why Evo still exists. But yeah, no. They will never do that, ever.
Wrapping up on Squadron, because of course there's humans and there's combat, so yeah.
We talked about Starware, Starcloth. Anything you can update us on?
Don't be over Jared.
Yeah, but I don't know that.
Guys, anybody who replaces Jared will be 1,000 times worse. Yeah, don't be over. People are saying they're over Jared and stuff in the Twitch chat. Trust me, any replacement would be so much worse. Just let him do his thing. Just give him the feedback and try and help him, communicate what you want out of the show. And hopefully he does seem to read the comments and stuff. For me, I want to focus on the game more than the people. He will never do that in shows like this. He will focus on the people more than the game.
The community is going to care that much. The Starcloth technology continues.
They asked.
Yeah, no, it's great. No. It's just that we have complete. So we talk about tools, right? So when we did Starcloth, we didn't really make a lot of tools for it. We just made it work. So I could have I marked it up in Maya. We could export it. It was super easy to say. But to really start
thank you, Captain Waldar.
Some of the issues that we had with different sections of it, especially within Squadron, but also within the PU, to really polish some of the outfits that we need to start making, like ponchos over armor and things like that. We needed some more markup ability. So what they've done, it was really cool that Vineet, the physics guys, we have Abhinav in Montreal, they've all worked together to make a physics plugin for Maya that replicates Starcloth in Maya and the markup.
The whole show was scripted to exactly what was popping up on the screen. I don't know. Yeah, guys, every SCL, they look at the questions beforehand. They choose the ones they're going to talk about. Jared has the list of questions, and he reads them. Where have you been the last 2-3 years?
That we do within the deformation that we do with cables and things like this, so they can see it real time. So what this does is just amps up the quality of the data that we actually get out of it, and it's so much better. Because yes, we would go in the engine, but if I could show you, like I never did show the tools that we were using to paint in the engine. They were very basic. We have a system called Image GUI that has this very debug GUI. And the physics guys had made a quick tool so that we could just kind of broad stroke it, but you couldn't do anything sophisticated with it. Now that it's in Maya, super sophisticated. You still see it in engine real time and stuff like that back and forth, so that's fine. But it's just more control over it. Oh, one nice, I get so excited over these dumb things. We can now put, this sounds simple, but it's not. We can now put rigid objects, like rigid, okay, so for example, buttons. Buttons on the medical gown. There's an example.
Okay.
There's buttons that go down, or Bishop's trench coats. They're rigid, and they're on top of cloth. Before, they were just like cloth. They would move like cloth, and it's hard to see it. But now that we have these rigid pits, they actually affect the simulation too. Just those rigid areas, it looks so much better. So there's a trench coat that Bishop has as well.
They are so
that
detailed.
has these,
it's
and
so
it's totally
ridiculous.
not expected. But it has a belt that hangs down that has, it's like a big leather.
I always just sit here and I wish they gave somebody the ability to be as detailed about the game's economy, simulation, gameplay, things like that. Just seems like this gets the priority on detail always. Fucking buttons.
Belt of a trench coat.
I know, it's
and the belt
Squadron
hangs
work,
down,
still.
and there's these little grommets within the belt. So we made all those grommets rigid. Totally changed how this thing looked, and it was way more real, way more what you would expect from that. So that's a nice little piece of tech that came out of that little work. I know it sounds small, but like again, I'm your developer's favorite developer. They think it's great, so I think it's great.
I cherish you, Sean Tracy.
I love you.
We all cherish Sean Tracy.
We're just about out of time.
What?
Yeah, we're here. Oh. We're here. What do you? We talked at the beginning about the size of the tools team. We talked about all,
we never
all the
talked
different
about anything.
all the different aspects. You
Wonder
represent,
why.
this pillar over here. There's Marco over there. There's Benoit like this. We have Benoit on every 6 months or so now. Do this, but we don't often get to talk about tools and stuff. It's not the sexiest topic. It doesn't have a whole lot of visuals to go with it. Often it's not, everybody wants to know about, when can I do this in the game and when can I do that in the game? And most of the conversation about tools is how we make the game, for instance. You've got a couple minutes here. You got a couple minutes here and we've got a platform. What would you like to say to the Star Citizen community? What would you like them to understand, to appreciate about the role of tools in making video games?
Yeah, imagine working for these guys. Imagine working for these guys, these developers, right? You meet them all the time. No, it's the biggest thing I want them to appreciate is that there is guys that are working for their favorite developers to do that job. Like always, we don't have middleware. We're not, like, it's the thing I'm really so proud of. Yes, we started out of Lumberyard. Yes, we started out of CryEngine. I've had a whole history with that. But we have become something so
Unreal
unique
Engine?
and so big that sometimes we're so busy on what we're doing. We look up and we'll even do some competitive analysis. I'll go into Unreal, I'll go into Unity, I'll look at other games projects or whatever and realize how at the top of the game we are. We are progressing amazingly, and those tools people are part of the reason why. There is huge areas of this game that aren't getting the tooling it needs, because I'm sure developers are watching this going, my tool's total garbage, right? Because I hear that stuff all the time too. Every day.
Hey,
It really depends on the area. It really depends on the process they're in, and it really depends on what they're working on. One of the things I like to say a lot of the times is that people like to complain about editor stability, is what I hear a lot. I'm like, hey, do you play the client? They're like, no, I'm always running in the editor. I'm like, well, listen, the client's running in the editor. So the editor's no more stable than the game. So please make the game stable, and that editor gets more stable. It's things like that. Like it's just the reality of the work that we do. That the tool that it comes into gets the blame. Copy build, the one I talked about on the onset. Exact same thing. Copy build's slow today. Copy build's not working. Copy build this, copy build that. And it's never copy build. It's always a network problem, build store issue, patcher bug, So honestly, it's a tough job. It's a tough job. It's a tough job to take that kind of stuff, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
Finally, when Jared stopped taking the reins and let him talk about what he wanted to talk about, now the fucking show just got good.
I was just doing some work today. I even said to the guy, just tell me it works. I need that dopamine hit. And realizing that, you know what? Just in satisfaction.
This reminds me of when I went from being a poker dealer to being a supervisor of poker dealers, and then immediately being like, holy shit, I fucking hate poker dealers.
Sometimes the request or the need of a developer.
You can tell his frustration with the developers there a little bit.
And reward. So, it's a great job to have, but it also can be tough on the same token. So,
well,
DJ trolling him, of course.
What?
Sean Tracy, make your game stable 2026.
Yeah.
That's it for the show, everybody. Thanks for watching. That's Sean Tracy, our Managing Director of Technical
Operations
and whatnot. I'm Jared Huckabee. We've got a show next week. I don't actually know what it is. My producer's over there. She's been waiting to find out what next week's show is.
I wonder if it's just like timing of 4.7. Are we doing crafting? Are we not doing crafting talk? Are we doing the rock breaker talk? Because they have a few ISCs opportunities, but it's like, where do the pieces land? What ship are we selling? Is the ship ready? So there's a few. We might have a few weeks off of SCL, which might honestly it'll be a nice break from it, and just a quick little episode of, hey, what's in the game.
Some shows like this one are booked months in advance based on travel and stuff like this, and some shows like next week I forget about.
Oh, he forgot something. Never mind. Okay.
Until like the week before, and I'll spend most of tomorrow frantically trying to fill it with something. I also did say that I would.
Hey, he could just take the week off, because that's what they did last year. So whatever we get next week, no matter what it is, he's making the effort to do a show for us. Don't forget that. Okay? As much as I did not enjoy this episode that much, he's here every week and has been here every week.
Show you guys this.
That's what we asked for, and he's doing it.
Jacket, this cool like windbreaker style jacket. It's Vanduli. The reason I said that I would show it to you guys because it's on the store is actually it's cool. They didn't get me one that was my size, so I can't wear it. I was like, I'm like, this is really cool.
I definitely want one too.
I'm gonna wear it, and then it doesn't fit. Nice, but it's pretty nice. As far as the clothes that we've sold over the years, I'm not gonna.
Better.
I've never lied to you guys. I won't. Some of it's been a mixed bag. Some things are better than others and stuff like this. You get trouble with manufacturing and stuff like this. This is actually pretty nice. So if you were ever on the fence about it, and you don't mind, walking around like a vandal thing, I think it's pretty good. It's very comfortable. I am going to ask for one that's actually in my size and wear it because it's pretty comfortable.
It's 145 euros.
And that is why I work in marketing.
How much is it?
Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Are we rating somebody? Probably. Maybe not. Thanks for watching. I'm Jared. That's Sean. This has been Star Citizen Live. We'll probably see you next week, everybody. If not, we'll see you the week after that. Bye.
All right. I mean, hey, again, hopefully we see you next week. So hopefully there's an episode there. So, yeah, in the end, we got a couple of interesting things. I think they want to do the changes of body types. And it was like a yes, it's just a matter of when, but the when is like, sounds like never. And then what were the other highlights? His honesty at the end was obviously a highlight, but then there was something else. A lot of Maelstrom talk. That's right. The Maelstrom talk, possibly tree chopping and things like that. Something that they really want to do. Little talk about Starchitect, Starware by the end of the year. So those are kind of the highlights there. Nothing crazy. Wasn't expecting too much crazy. But yeah, the Maelstrom talk was really interesting because things that I never expected would happen, he seemed very on board with. Like, it was like, oh yeah, sure, we're doing that. And I was like, what the heck? I remember the river guy was like, nope, you're not chopping trees. Because it was a whole thing, like, if you smashed into the planet and hit a tree, would the trees fall down? And they're like, that simulation would just, like, break everything. So I wasn't expecting any of it. But regardless, that was me covering SCL. We paused. Let me know what you think about it. The pausing and everything and how it went. We will never be able to avoid when they raid at the end with the pausing. But we can quickly get right back into it, it looks like, pretty easily. So, nice there. All right. Thank you for watching, guys. And I'll catch you in the next one, I guess.